dear.
Your call, please.
Operator, I have been dialing Murray Hill 40098 now for the last 3/4 of an hour, and the line is always busy. But I don't see how it could be busy that long. Will you try it for me, please?
Murray here for 0098. One moment, please.
I don't know how it could be busy all this time. It's my husband's office. He's working late tonight, and I'm all alone here in the house. My health is very poor, and I've been feeling so nervous all day.
Ringing Murray here for 0098.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Is Mr. Stevenson there?
Hello? Hello, George?
Yes, sir.
We have heard from our client. He says that the coast is clear for tonight.
Yes, sir.
Where are you now?
In a phone booth.
Okay, you know the address. At 11 o'clock, the private patrolman goes around to the bar on the 2nd Avenue for a beer. Be sure that all the lights downstairs are out. There should be one visible light from the street. At 11:15, a subway train crosses the bridge. It makes a noise in case her window is open, and she should scream.
Oh, hello! What number is this, please?
Okay, I understand.
Make it quick, as little blood as possible. Our client does not wish to make her suffer long.
A knife, okay, sir?
Yes, a knife will be okay. And remember, remove the rings and bracelets and the jewelry in the bureau of drawer. Our client wishes it to look like simple robbery.
Okay, I get.
Oh! How awful! How unspeakably!
Your call, please.
Operator, I've just been cut off.
I'm sorry, madam. What number were you calling?
Why? It was supposed to be Murray Hill 40098, but it wasn't. Some horses have crossed, and I was caught into the wrong number. And I've just heard the most dreadful thing. A murder. And, operator, you simply have to retrace that call at once.
I beg your pardon, madam. I don't quite.
Oh, I know it was the wrong number, and I had no business listening. But these two men, they were cold-blooded fiends, and they were going to murder somebody. Some poor innocent woman who was all alone in a house near a bridge. We've got to stop them. We've got to.
What number were you calling, madam?
That doesn't matter. This was the wrong number, and you dialed it. And we've got to find out what it was immediately.
But, madam,
Oh, why are you so stupid? Look, it was obviously a case of some little slip of the finger. I told you to try Murray Hill 40098 for me. You dialed it, but your finger must have slipped. And I could hear them, but they couldn't hear me. Now, I simply fail to see why I could make that same mistake again, on purpose. Why I could not try to dial Murray Hill 40098 in the same careless sort of way.
Murray here for 0098. I will try to get it for you, madam.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Murray here for 0098 is busy.
Operator,
Yes, madam.
you didn't try to get that wrong number at all. I asked explicitly, and you all did was dial correctly.
I am sorry. What number were you calling?
Can't you for once forget what number I was calling and do something specific? Now, I want you to trace that call. It's my civic duty. It's your civic duty to trace that call and to apprehend those dangerous killers. And if you want,
I will connect you with the chief operator.
please.
Miss Curtis, will you pick up on 17, please?
Yes, dear. What's the trouble?
Somebody wanting a call traced. I can't make head nor tail of it.
Sure, dear. 17. This is the chief operator.
Chief operator, I want you to trace a call, a telephone call, immediately. I don't know where it came from or who was making it, but it's absolutely necessary that it be tracked down, because it was about a murder. Yes, a terrible cold-blooded murder of a poor innocent woman, tonight at 11:15.
I see.
Can you trace it? Can you track down those men?
It depends, madam.
Depends on what?
It depends on whether the call is still going on. If it's a live call, we can trace it on the equipment. If it's been disconnected, we can.
Disconnected?
If the parties have stopped talking to each other,
Oh, but of course, they must have stopped talking to each other by now. It was at least 5 minutes ago, and they didn't sound like the type who would make a long call.
well, I can try tracing it. Now, what is your name, madam?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your telephone number?
+42295. But if you go on wasting all this time,
What is your reason for wanting this call traced?
my reason? Well, for heaven's sake, isn't it obvious? I overheard 2 men. They're killers. They're planning to murder this woman. It's a matter for the police.
Have you told the police?
No! How could I?
You're making this check into a private call purely as a private individual.
Yes. But meanwhile,
Well, Mrs. Stevenson, I seriously doubt whether we could make this check for you at this time just on your say-so as a private individual. We'd have to have something more official.
oh, for heaven's sake, you mean to tell me I can report the murder without getting tied up in all this red tape? Why? It's perfectly idiotic. Alright then, I will call the police. Ridiculous.
Ring the police department.
You sure, Lance Sarge? They didn't have no jelly donuts, so I give you French curlers. Okay?
French curlers? I got ulcers. Why don't you make it apple pie? Police Department, Precinct 43. Duffy speaking.
Police department? Oh, this is Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Smith Stevenson of 53 North Sutton Place. I'm calling up to report the murder. I mean, the murder hasn't been committed yet. I just overheard plans for it. Over a telephone. Over a wrong number that the operator gave me.
Yes, Mom.
It was perfectly definite murder. I heard their plans distinctly. 2 men were talking and they were going to murder some woman at 11:15 tonight. She lived in a house near a bridge.
Yes, Mom.
And there was a private patrolman on the street. He was going to go around for a beer on 2nd Avenue. And there was some third man, a client, who was paying to have this poor woman murdered. They were going to take her rings and bracelets, and he used a knife. Well, it's unnerved me dreadfully, and I am not well.
I see. When was all this, Mom?
About 8 minutes ago. Oh, then you can do something? You do understand?
And what is your name, Mom?
Mrs. Stevenson. Mrs. Albert Stevenson.
And your address?
53 North Sutton Place. That's near a bridge. The Queensboro Bridge. You know, and we have a private patrolman on the street on 2nd Avenue.
And what was that number you were calling?
Murray Hill 40098. But that wasn't the number I ever heard. I mean, Murray Hill 40098 is my husband's office. He's working late tonight and I was trying to reach him to ask so. I am an invalid, you know, and it's the maid's night off. And I hate to be alone, even though he says I'm perfectly safe as long as I have the telephone right beside my bed.
Well, we'll look into it, Mrs. Stevenson, and see if we can check it with the telephone company.
But the telephone company said they could not check the call if the parties had stopped talking. I've already taken care of that.
Oh, yes?
Personally, I feel you ought to do something far more immediate and drastic than just check the call. What good does checking the call do if they've stopped talking? By the time you track it down, they already have committed the murder.
Well, we'll take care of it, lady. Don't worry.
I'd say the whole thing calls for a search, a complete and true search of the whole city. I'm very near a bridge. I'm not far from 2nd Avenue. And I know I'd feel a whole lot better if you sent a radio car to this neighborhood at once.
And what makes you think the murder's going to be committed in your neighborhood, Mom?
Oh, I don't know. The coincidence is so horrible. 2nd Avenue, the facial man, the bridge.
2nd Avenue is a very long street, Mom. And do you happen to know how many bridges there are in the city of New York alone? Not to mention Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx. And how do you know there is some little house out on Staten Island on some little 2nd Avenue you never heard about? And how do you even know they were talking about New York at all?
But I heard the call on the New York dialing system.
How do you know it wasn't a long distance call you overheard? Telephones are funny things. Look, lady, why don't you even look at it this way? Supposing you haven't broken in on that telephone call. Supposing you've got your husband the way you always do. Will this murder have made any difference to you then?
I suppose not, but it's so inhuman, so cold-blooded.
A lot of murders are committed in this city every day, Mom. If we would do something to stop them, we would. But a clue of this kind that's so video isn't much more use to us than no clue at all.
But surely,
Unless, of course, you have some reason for thinking this call is phony and that someone may be planning to murder you.
me? Oh, no, I hardly think so. I mean, why should anybody? I'm all alone all day and night. I see nobody except my maid Alois. She's a big 2-pounder. She's too lazy to bring up my breakfast tray. And the only other person is my husband, Albert. He's crazy about me, adores me, waits on me hand and foot. He scarcely left my side since I took sick 12 years ago.
Well, then, there's nothing for you to worry about, is there? And now, if you'll just leave the rest of this to us,
What will you do? It's nearly 11 o'clock.
well, we'll take care of it, lady.
Will you broadcast it all over the city? And send out squads? And warn your radio cars to watch out, especially in suspicious neighborhoods, like mine?
Lady, I said we'd take care of it. Just now, I got a couple of other matters here on my desk that require my immediate.
Oh! Idiot! Now, why did I do that? Now, he'll think I am a fool. Oh! Why doesn't Albert come home? Why doesn't he?
Your call, please.
Operator, for heaven's sake, will you ring that Murray Hill 40098 number again? I can think what's keeping him so long. I can hear it. You don't have to tell me. I know it's busy. If I could only get out of this bed for a little while. If I could get a breath of fresh air. Or just lean out the window and see the street. Hello? Albert? Hello? 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 Oh, what's the matter with this phone? Hello? Hello? Oh, operator, I don't know what's the matter with this telephone tonight, but it's positively driving me crazy. I've never seen such inefficient, miserable service. Now, look, I'm an invalid, and I'm very nervous, and I'm supposed to be annoyed. But if this keeps so much longer, well, everything's wrong. The whole world could be murdered, for all you people care. And now, my phone keeps ringing. Ringing and ringing and ringing. Every 5 seconds or so. And when I pick it up, there's no one there.
I'm sorry.
I don't want you to test it for me. I want you to put through that call, whatever it is, at once. Not possible? And why, may I ask? Well, of all the stupid complicated. And meanwhile, I've got to sit here in my bed, suffering every time that phone's ring, imagining everything. Check it, check it. That's all anybody can do. Of all the stupid idiotic. Oh, what's the use? Yes, yes. This is Plaza 42295.
Western Union. I have a telegram here for Mrs. Albert Stevenson. Is there anyone there to receive the message?
I am Mrs. Stevenson.
Telegram is follows Mrs. Albert Stevenson, 53 North Sutton Place, New York, New York. Darling, terribly sorry tried to get you for the last hour, but line busy, leaving for Boston 11 p.m. tonight. On urgent business. Back tomorrow afternoon. Keep happy, love, Sai, Albert.
Oh, no.
That is all, madam. Do you wish us to deliver a copy of message?
No, no. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Good night. No, no. It isn't true. He could not do it. Now, when he knows I'll be alone, it's some trick, some fine dish.
Your call, please.
Operator, try that Murray Hill 40098 number for me. Just once more, please.
Ringing Murray Hill 40098.
It's gone. Oh, Albert, how could you? How could you?
This is information.
I want the telephone number of Henchley Hospital.
Hospital? Do you have the address, madam?
No, it's somewhere in 70s though. It's a very small, private, and exclusive hospital where I had my appendix out 2 years ago. Henchley, Henc.
One moment, please.
Please, hurry. And please, what is the time?
Don't know, madam. You may find out the time by dialing Meridian 7-1212.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Could you?
The number of Henchley Hospital is Butterfield 7-0105, madam.
Butterfield 70105.
Ashley Hospital, good evening.
Nurses Registry.
Who was it you wish to speak to, please?
I want the nurses registry at once. I want a trained nurse. I want to hire her immediately for the night.
I see. And what is the nature of the case, madam?
Nurse, I'm nervous. And I need soothing and companionship. My husband is away and
Have you been recommended to us by any doctor in particular, madam?
Oh, but I really don't see why all this catechizing is necessary. I want a trained nurse. I was a patient in your hospital 2 years ago. And after all, I do expect to pay this person.
We quite understand that, madam, but registered nurses are very scarce just now, and our superintendent has asked us to send people out only on cases where the physician in charge and feels it is absolutely necessary. I see. Well, I'll speak to Miss Phillips as soon as she comes in.
Miss Phillips, and when do you expect her in?
And what is your name, madam? I really don't know, madam. She went out to super at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, but it's not 11 yet. Oh, my clock has stopped. I thought it was running down. What time is it?
What was what, madam? I didn't hear it, madam. Now, about this.
But I did. There's someone in this house. Someone downstairs in the kitchen. And they're listening to me now. They are.
Your call, please.
Operator, I'm in desperate trouble.
I can hear you, madam. Please speak louder.
I don't care. There's someone listening. Can you hear me now?
What number are you calling, madam?
You've got to hear me. Oh, please. You've got to help me. There's someone in this house. Someone who's going to murder me. And you've got to get in touch with the... Oh, there it is. He put it down. He's coming. He's coming up the stairs. Police!
Ringing the police department.
Police Department, Duffy speaking.
Sorry. Wrong number.